Hi, class. Today we're going to be discussing chapter one and a little bit of chapter two in our rules of the road. So first, with chapter one, I'm going to explain to you what you gotta be enrolled in the class to get a permit, eventually to get a license, and there's a few steps that you have to take along the way. So just as I was talking about, you got to be enrolled in a driver education class, and you gotta pass as well. Okay. A couple things I'd like to talk to you about, just to believe we talked to you about this on the first day, but we'll just kind of re-jog your memory on this. Driver education class is a pass or fail class. So why not get a 75% C in this class? Still going to pass. Get an F, obviously you would fail. And we had talked to you about if you get an A or a B in the class, then that guarantees you, as long as you get A or B behind the wheel, will allow you to take the driver's test with your driving instructor. And to you, that's a huge advantage. If you get a C or a D, you got to go to the DMV and take the driver's test with somebody who you're just getting into the car with for the first time. Probably going to make you a little bit more nervous, and they don't have your best interest, not necessarily have your best interest at heart. Where we the way that we when we get in that behind the wheel car is if you fail, then we fail. So get an A or B in the class and give yourself an opportunity to take the driving test with us, one of the driver's education instructors, on your last day behind the wheel. It will extremely benefit you. Okay, so a few things that you're going to have to know here for our first test coming up, our first quiz coming up is you have to have 30 classroom hours. Now, this is a state law, not a Glenwood High School law, and with this here, with the way that we are learning through e-learning, um, there's a little bit of grace here, not having to have your 30 hours, so we're not going to be as strict as that. But if you have a question on the test or if you're filling out an outline, you want to answer that you have to have 30 classroom hours. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If this was a live setting and we were in school each and every day, then you would have to attain your 30 hours. And with this 9 weeks, it would allow you to, it's usually between 4 and 5 classroom days, so there is some room for you to miss. But obviously, with us being an e-learning, you got quite a bit of grace there. Okay, so you pass the classroom with an A and fast track to maybe a month before you're 16. We contact you from behind the wheel. By the way, that we will get you out of a study hall or a PE, or drive you early bird, or even drive you during the summer if you're a summer candidate. You have to get 6 hours of behind the wheel with the driving instructor. What that amounts to is it'll amount to 16 sessions, and we'll pair you up with a partner, and you'll drive for about 20 to 25 minutes per session. You're in the summer, it's going to be 1 hour per student per day. So that'd be a total of 6 days. A lot of times students or even parents will ask, when you start behind the wheel, how many hours do you have to have? Because you have to have 50 total hours for you to get your license, and I'll talk about that here in a second. We suggest that you have 25 hours. Is that a mandatory? No, it's not. We have some students that unfortunately ask their parents, "Hey, mom, can I drive? Dad, can I drive?" And just they simply tell them no, and it's not the kid's fault. So if we come to you and it's time for behind the wheel, and you say, "I'm not ready. I don't have any hours," well, we'll still take you out. But we suggest and we'd like for you to have 25 hours if possible. A lot of students will come to us and they will have anywhere from 35, 40, maybe even all 50 of their hours before we start behind the wheel with them. So suggested to have 25 hours, not mandatory, before you take behind the wheel with us, one of the instructors, myself, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Lanen, Mr. Marshall, or Mr. Janke also teaches behind the wheel as well. So fees, a couple things about fees, and these are all fair game for a quiz or test. So a lab fee to the school is $250, and there's a good chance that you won't even have any dealings with your $250 fee. So in Skyward, your parents, when you get enrolled into the class, or even at the beginning of the year, they'll get notification that you owe $250 for a behind the wheel fee. That's a lot of money. And you may ask, where does that money go? Well, it goes to a few places. It goes to purchasing our driver education cards. We actually are going to get a new 2020 Ford Fusion here very, very soon. And we're going to get another one in July. So it goes towards purchasing the cars, maintaining oil change, tires, brake pads, all the wear items there, and of course car maintenance, any other maintenance that we would need, and gasoline and insurance of the vehicles. That's where that money goes. So that's where that's where it goes into a fund. License fee. So what we call it your permit fee. So after you pass the state test, the vision test, the instructors will take your application and a $20 check or cash to the DMV, and that's what it'll cost for you to get your Illinois permit, driver's permit. That it will be all over a quiz, all over a test. If you lose your permit or you wash it and you can't make it out, what is it going to cost for a new permit, which is commonly known as a duplicate permit? It's going to cost $5. $5. Something else that you really need to write this down because it's not on the slide that you're looking at here. We're going to ask you what 3 things do you need to have with you at the DMV to get yourself a duplicate permit. One is the $5 we just talked about. Another one is your social and a certified birth certificate. So now is a good time to talk to your parents about, because there's a good chance that you do not have a Social Security card in your wallet or your certified birth certificate in your purse or wallet. But you have to have these 2 things in order to get your license down the road. But you have to have them to have a duplicate permit as well. Say, Mom, Dad, do you have my certified birth certificate? Do you have my Social Security card? Those are 2 very, very important things. If they don't have them, and let's say you go get a duplicate permit or you go and get your license, it's going to take some time for them to get you a new one. It's not going to be the same day. It's going to be a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks for you to get a certified birth certificate or a Social Security card. Now remember, a certified birth certificate is not a hospital copy of a birth certificate. A hospital copy looks pretty certified, but it's not. So you want to look for that raised seal on your certified birth certificate. So to recap, what 3 things do you need for a duplicate permit? $5, a Social Security card, and Social Security card, and you also need your certified birth certificate to get yourself a duplicate permit. So what 3 tests do you have to pass in order to get your driver's license? Number 1 is your Illinois State written test. And you're going to take that hopefully sooner than later. You have to get a 32 out of 40 on that test to pass. So what that amounts to, I think it's like I'm not 100% sure, 84%, 84% to pass. State written test is done on your Chromebooks, but it has to be done in a live setting. We'll talk about the format of the test here soon. Vision tests. You have to be able to see 20/40 on your vision test. And us, the driver education instructors, will give you your vision test. We'll have our 1984 vision test machine, and we'll test you. We'll test you for 20/40 vision. Now, if you wear contacts or you wear glasses and you decide that, you're going to try without your glasses, that's fine. If you fail, we'll put those glasses on, put the contacts in, and you pass, great. Okay. If you have trouble seeing the whiteboards, if you have trouble seeing, you're squinting a lot at this point, make sure you get to an eye doctor so we can make sure that you are at least 20/40 on your vision. Now, perfect vision, commonly known as 20/20, we're not testing for that. So if you walk away from the vision test saying, hey, I got perfect vision, I passed, and that's not the case. 20/40 is what we're testing for. Okay. And then the last test, which you'll take the last day behind the wheel, is your driving test. And you get 3 attempts to pass that driving test. Very rarely do we get to a second or third attempt. It has happened. After that third attempt, there is a waiting period for you to take it again. Okay, so 3 tests: state written test, vision test, and your driving test. For state written test, 82%, so there's a couple percent off there. Got to get a 32 out of 40, like we talked about. You have 15 signed questions. You have 25 multiple choice and true false. So those signed questions are fairly straightforward. You'll have to identify them out of a kind of a signed bank. And much of the time, students do very, very well on the signed questions in order to get you prepared for the other 25 multiple choice and true false. Okay, so what do you need to know? Signs, you have to identify by shape and color. Signals, you have to identify signals and pavement markings. We'll talk about the difference between a white pavement marking and a yellow pavement marking. A white broken line and a yellow broken line. They're all different things. Shapes, we've got diamond shapes, rectangle shapes, octagons, red, yellow, orange, all the different colors, and we'll talk more about that. And then, of course, a lot of different laws, rules, regulations, accidents, and different types of equipment that you have to have. What we talked about with this certified, so parents have to request this. If they don't have one, you cannot do so. Go to the county quarter building in Springfield, or you can go to online, this Vital Statistics online website, which you can get yourself a certificate. Talking about your permit. So these two bullet points are very, very important. You have to hold your permit for at least 9 months, for at least 9 months. So what I like to say is, let's say if we get our permits on May 10th. So you got your permit on May 10th, and you have to hold it for at least 9 months. So on February the 10th is when that 9 months will be up. Okay, so what that means is, let's say if your birthday is on February the 1st and you're done with behind the wheel and you're 16, you're ready to go to the DMV get your license, you have to wait those 9 days. You have to wait till February 10th to get that license. That way your 9 months is passed. So 9 months you have to hold your permit, even if regardless if you're 16. Then your Illinois permit is valid for up to 2 years. So the date issued, 2 years is how long it's valid. After those 2 years, it will expire. To talk about the vision test a little bit detailed, again, you got to see 20/40. We could give you, let's say if you don't see 20/40, but you can see 20/50, we could give you a 20/70 daylight driving only. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because of the 50 hours that you have to get, 10 of those hours will have to be nighttime hours, and there's no way you can get those nighttime hours. Contacts or glasses, again, wear them on the same day of the test. If you do wear your contacts or your glasses in order to pass the test, that's fine. You'll just have a restriction B on your license and on your permit. So what that means, if a police officer asks for identification, he'll see or she'll see that you have a restriction B. He's going to ask you, or visibly see the glasses on your face, or ask you if you have your contacts in. So you always have to wear your contacts or glasses when you drive if you have a restriction B on your permit. Okay. All right, so we're going to end up there. This is going to be the end of today's lesson here. We'll finish up at a date. Thank you for paying attention to me today. And that is going to be it. I'm going to stop recording. Have a good day, everybody.